Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, because y'all, we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla, and we closed at 227.50. We had a low yesterday of 222.79. We have bounced off of that back to the upside. Now, are we going to go up or are we going back to the downside? That's the question, right? But keep in mind, Tesla does report earnings this afternoon. Aftermarket. So, as of now, where are the trouble places? We've been consolidating or in this gathering spot here pre-market. Resistance is around, let's say support and resistance. We're kind of like in an area. The 50 EMA, the 5 EMA, the 20 EMA, and then you see I drew a trend line here. So, and a previous area of 229.06. So, let's say the 229.06 is our support. Where are the trouble places to the upside? Back to the upside. If we get back above the 230.11, we could possibly have trouble here. 230.76. 231.15, 232.21. Breaking that brings us back to around, let's say around 233.68. And if we should break that, we could possibly have trouble again. 234.57. Breaking that brings us back to 236.29. And if we should break that, you see our 200 EMA is here around the 237.74. So those could be trouble places or resistance areas to the upside for Tesla. Now, to the downside, if by chance we break under, let's say this area of 228.10, breaking that brings us back to 227.41. And if we should break that, we could possibly have trouble around 226.13. But you see, it's not far from the ATR trailing stop I have here at 225.85. Breaking that level, 225.21. Under that, 224.57. And if we should break that, 223.88. Breaking the 223.88 area brings us kind of like back to, let's say, the 222.98, and breaking that brings us back to this 222 area. So we could very well go in either direction today. So if you're trading Tesla today, those are kind of like places to the upside and to the downside. And y'all know I say in this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed, so trade carefully today. We are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 513.88. Y'all see we had a 508 low on yesterday. Interesting, right? So it's been moving up. Looks like we got some rejection here around the 520, 50, 520, 60 area. So where are the trouble places? As of now, we are under that 5 EMA. That's interesting. And the 20 and the 50 EMA. So we're under those moving averages. However, this 517.40 area has been a support area for us. So back to the upside. If by chance we break back above 518.36, we could possibly have trouble 519.21. Breaking that, 519.79. Breaking that, there's a few layers as we can see here. So back beyond that 519.79 area, 520.58, and again here at 521.08, breaking that 521.76, and if we should break that level, 522.60, breaking that 523.24, and the 200 EMA as of now 523.79 could be a trouble place for us for the SPY. Now back to the downside, if by chance we break under the 517.39, we could very well come back to, let's say, 516.54. Under that level, 515.74. And if we break that, the ATR trailing stop is here at 515.19. Breaking that brings us back to around 514.03. And if we break that level, 513.34. And if we should break that, we can very well come back to I'd say around the 512.76. If we break that, we can come back to around the 511.72 area. So if you're trading the spot today, those are kind of like areas to the upside and to the downside. And keep in mind, y'all, anything is possible in this market, right? So let's look at AMD today just to see where we are. We closed at 85.56, as you can see, and we are trading in a zone here. Support is around, let's say, the 86.07 area. That 20 EMA is holding us up as of now. 5 EMA could be a rejection area for us. So back to the upside, if we break back above 86.33, we could possibly have trouble again around the 86.60 area. If we should break that, we could possibly have trouble again. 86.94, breaking that brings us back to around the 87.76 or 87.70. I have 87.76 as a 200 EMA as of now, not far away, as you can see. So that could be a strong rejection area for AMD. Again, not financial advice. Under this level of, I'd say, around the 85.93, we could very well come back to 85.63, and breaking that brings us back to around 85.41. Breaking 85.41 for AMD, 85.20, which is not far from this ATR trail, and stop at 85.13. Breaking that level brings us back to around 84.68, and if we should break that, 84.29 could be a support area for us, and if we should break that, 83.94. Breaking at 83.94, we can come back and retest this 83.75 low here. Keep in mind, y'all, I look at support and resistance on a much smaller scale. Why? Because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are. And notice I said possible because anything is possible, right? So we're now looking at NVDA. We closed at 96.91. It too is kind of trading the same. Support is around, let's say, the 97.80. Resistance is kind of at this area here, 98.49. So it's basically trading in this zone here. So back to the upside, breaking above the 98.49 area. We could possibly have trouble again somewhere around the 99.02 area. Breaking that, 99.35, and if we should break that, we can come back to around 99.82, and if we should break that level, $100.51, breaking that brings us back to around the 101.15. If we break that 101.15, the 200 EMA as of now 101.55, and as you can see, I have another level here of 101.76, which is really close. So we could possibly have, some trouble in this area for NVIDIA if we should get to this place. Now back to the downside, if by chance we break under 97.55, we could possibly have trouble again. 97.32, breaking that level. 97.04, if we should break that, we see the ATR trailing stop here is around 96.56. If we should break that, we could possibly have trouble again, or support around 95.90. Breaking the 95.90, again, we could possibly come back to around 95.55. And if we should break that level, yesterday we were up here at the 90, or down here at the 95.23 area, and I did have the 94.97, which is not far away. So if you're trading NVIDIA today, those are kind of areas to the upside and to the downside, or your support and your resistance. Now, if we break under the 94.97, we could very well come back to 94.02 for NVIDIA. And y'all know I say so often in this market, anything is possible, so it could very well do so, right? So we have looked at AMD, NVIDIA. Let's look at Meta today. So as of now, we closed at 484.66. It too is trading, y'all. You see in this gathering spot, in this consolidation area, or however you want to say it, right? So where the trouble place is, back to the upside, we would need to break back above this 50 EMA, which is around the 489.29. If we should break that level, we could possibly have trouble again. 491. Breaking that brings us back to around 492.35. If we should break that, 493.69, and if we break that level, 495.40. Breaking that brings us back to 497.87, And if we break that 498.05, we could possibly have trouble around that 498.05 in my opinion. There could be a strong layer. We definitely need to watch for Meta. Now, should we break that, we could very well come back to 501.81 and breaking that 502.98. If we should break that 200 EMA at that 502.98, we could still have trouble here at 504.17. So those are your resistance areas for Meta as of right now. Back to the downside under, let's say 486.50. We have support at this ATR trail and stop at 485.42. Should we break that level, we can come back to 484.11. Breaking that brings us back to this consolidation or gathering spot area here. Let's say around 482.40, and if we break that level, we can come back to around 481.69 and again at 479.80. So if you are trading Meta today, those are kind of support and resistance areas. Now, if we break this 479.80 area for Meta, we could very well come back to 474.21. And y'all know I say in this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. So we did have a few inside day candles for today. Citigroup or C is an inside day candle, and we have already broken through that trigger. So are we going to continue to the upside? So breaking beyond or past the 63.20 area gives us an upside target of 63.77. Now to the downside under 61.98, downside target 61.82. So if you trade Citigroup or C, it is an inside day candle. BG is also an inside day candle above 78.98, upside target 79.06. To the downside under 77.65, 76.73 is the target. So if that is something that you trade, I say trade carefully. Now J&J is an inside day candle above 158.36, down upside target is 159.48, under 155.54, downside target 154.06. So if you trade J&J, it is an inside day candle. MRK is also an inside day candle, and we've already reached that target pre-market. I like looking at those inside day candles. One, it helps build a watch list, and it gives us possible targets, right? So MRK, we broke past that 78.18. The target was 78.77. We've reached a high of 78.97. So can it continue back to the downside? It very well can, and it is showing us that now. So back under 76.96, downside target 76.85. So if you trade MRK, it is an inside day candle. So I wanted to look at Palantir today just to see where we are, and it too is trading sideways. As you can see here, we closed at $90.80 back to the upside. Where are the trouble places? Above 92.45, we could possibly have trouble 92.67. If we should break that, the ATR trailing stop as of now 93.18. If we should break that level, we could possibly have trouble 93.73, and breaking that brings us back to around 94.13. Breaking that 94.13, we could very well come back to 95.16 for Palantir. Again, it is trading in a zone as of now. Now back to the downside, if we break under 91.73, we could very well come back to around 91.24, breaking the 91.24, $90.98. If we should break that, $90.68, and breaking that brings us back to around $90.11. If we break that $90.11, we can come back to 89.59. So is Palantir, PLTR, is something that you like to trade. I say trade carefully. Also, this is what I see when I look at the market. There's so many different ways to trade the market, and sometimes what's challenging is finding the strategy or the plan that works best for you and having the discipline to execute your plan. Make sure you set your stop losses or whatever it is that you choose to use. Make sure you have the discipline to get out. I say live to trade another day, right? So again, I hope that everyone have a very profitable day, a very productive day today. If you could please again like, share, comment, subscribe, because we learn and we grow together. So until next time, y'all, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.